Hello students, welcome back to your science class. I hope you all have enjoyed your vacation and had a good break time with your friends and family. I hope everyone are safe and healthy. Previously, we learned chapter 13 Fun with Magnets of your NCERT science textbook. Today we are going to begin a new chapter, that is chapter 9 of your NCERT science textbook, and the title of this chapter is The Living Organisms, Characteristics and Habitats. This chapter is more related to the nature and the way of life. This chapter is going to be very interesting. Let us begin today's class. The living organisms, its characteristics and habitats. Though the title mentioned the living organisms, we cannot separate non-living objects from life. You might have heard of biotic and abiotic components. Biotic means living. Abiotic means non-living. But both biotic and abiotic together make the planet Earth. Characteristics and habitat of these living organisms. The habitat of a living organism is dependent on its characteristics, and the characteristics of a living being depends upon its habitat. Habitat. The word habitat means the natural environment of an organism. It is the type of place in which it is natural for it to live and grow. Let us begin today's chapter with a brief introduction. For this chapter's introduction, let us all have a questionnaire for ourselves so that we can recall all the knowledge we have about various types of living and non-living objects. First question. Have you ever been to a new place on your vacation? Most of us like hill stations, which is far away from cities, noise and pollution. We visit such places to spend some time close to nature, right? What do we see in hill stations? We see hills, mountains, etc. What is the climatic conditions of hill stations there? It is very cold at such places. And what kind of trees do we see there? The exclusive type of trees we find growing in such places or in hill stations are oak trees, pine trees, deodars, etc. It feels good when we imagine or visit such places, right? Yes. Have you ever visited a desert? Or do you have any idea how a desert conditions are? In India, we have desert region in Rajasthan state. What is the most peculiar animal we find there? It is a camel. What are the weather conditions of a desert? It is very hot there. We barely find any plants growing in deserts because in desert regions availability of water is very less, and the type of plants we find in desert regions are cactus plants, which are very thick, hard and thorny. And there are many types of places we visit to explore nature. While recollecting all the types of places we have visited, don't you wonder that each of them are very different from each other? Some places are so cold, some are very hot, some are very dry, and some places are so humid. But each place have many kinds of living organisms growing in that particular place. Students, can you find a place on earth where there may not be any living creature present? Try to find a place inside your house, in your cupboards, outside your home, wherever you see you could not think of any living creature that is not present there. Even the minute tiny germs are also the living creatures. Planet Earth have many millions and billions of living creatures of which many of them are known and many are yet to be known. Let me share with you an amazing fact. Students, did you know even near the volcanic openings, people have found tiny living organisms present there and growing there? That means that is their habitat. Further proceeding into this chapter, next we are going to recall and learn more about organisms and the surroundings where they live in. That is nothing but living organisms and their habitat. Answer to yourself. What are the kinds of living organisms that were present in different locations? In deserts, we see camels, and at the mountains, we see goats and yak. At the beaches, we see a variety of fish being caught by the fishermen in the sea. And we find some creatures like ants that are present in all these different locations. What about the plants? The kinds of plants we found in each of the regions we see are very different from the plants of the other regions we see. Like we already discussed, cactus plants are present in desert regions, and pine or oak trees are mostly found at the mountains. Not only the plants and animals, but also what about the diverse surroundings we find in these different regions? Think of all these questions. To understand each of the question we had just now, we will learn each and every step with an activity. Let us understand this diversity of life and nature by doing a small activity by ourselves. Let us start with a forest. Think of all the objects that you can find in a forest. List all these things in column 1 of the table shown here. Discuss with your friends, parents to find more examples to fill the table. Like you will find the objects which are present in that particular regions. Like in the first column, what do you find in a forest? And then on mountains. And then in the deserts, in the sea, and any other different place you may know, and the objects you find there. You will fill this table by your knowledge or asking your friends and also parents. And you can also read as many books related to animals, plants, and minerals of different regions to fill in this table, to have knowledge and information regarding various objects present in different regions. You can also find the objects that you will find which may not be only plants and animals. For example, they need not to be only plants and animals. For example, they can be the parts of plants like dried leaves on ground, parts of animals like bones you usually found, and etc. You can also find and list different kinds of soils and stones found in these type of regions. You can also write about salts dissolved in water of oceans, as we have discussed in chapter 5. Fill all these columns with the objects you notice in these regions, and this information will be very useful, and we will discuss this table as we travel through many more interesting places while learning this chapter. We'll continue this chapter in the next class. Thank you all.